What's up, Divine Fam? Today we're diving into why men with the biggest incomes often feel the most empty. Men pulling in, say, like 30 grand a month, living the so-called dream and yet still feeling worthless. No peace, no purpose, just pressure. And nothing they throw at it seems to fix the feeling. Now I know this because personally I've lived it. If you watched my last video, then you'll know that 10 years ago I was making 30 grand a month and still felt like shit. I wasn't fulfilled, I wasn't proud, I wasn't grounded. In fact, I felt like the more money I made, the more lost I became. The success just exposed how little I knew about who I was beneath it all, and eventually I dropped everything. I walked away from the money, the image, the lifestyle, and honestly I thought I'd throw my life away, but that breakdown, that became my breakthrough. It forced me to do the deep work, and now I'm in a position where I get to help other men who are sitting in that exact same space, but this time without having to lose it all like I did. I help them keep the wealth that they've worked their asses off for, while cutting out the internal bullshit that's keeping them stuck. So in this video today, I'm going to break down exactly why you feel this way, why success without fulfillment feels like failure, and how to shift it, how to rebuild the core of your masculinity, your habits, your structure, so people value the man you are, not just how fat your bank account is. So let's get into it. First was finding fulfillment. See, I chased it endlessly, that so-called fulfillment bag, the one we're told will fix everything once we've hit that number, built the business, ticked every box, but deep down, I knew the truth. The problem I was facing wasn't going to be solved by more money. They were mine to fix. And so I did it. I made the money. I hit that 30 grand month mark that I used to think would make me feel complete. But instead of feeling proud or grounded, I felt worse, empty. I was numb, disconnected, like I'd finally made it and it meant nothing. And I'll be real with you. I got lucky. I made a choice at the right time to walk away and go deep into myself. But most men don't. Most men keep chasing it for the rest of their lives, hoping the next deal or the next win will make them feel whole. And that's the reason that I feel like I have a responsibility to help men now, because I know what that silent weight feels like, and I know how to lift it. You've built material wealth, but you've neglected emotional wealth. And see, without emotional wealth, everything around you, it just starts to feel hollow. The money's coming in, but your time, it just feels wasted. Your relationships feel surface level at best. You look around and ask yourself, is this it? And I get it, I've been there. But here's what helped me shift, and it's something that I get every single one of my clients to do. Stop chasing fulfillment as an outcome and start building it into your everyday process. I mean, actually start creating space in your day for things that restore you, time in nature, space to breathe, training with presence, journaling, not to just tick a box, but to face yourself, time in silence, not isolation, but reflection. One of my clients, he's a high-level entrepreneur and man, successful as hell. He was always in go mode, no space to think, no presence when he was at home. And when we started to working together, I didn't give him more productivity hacks. I told him to take a step back and create a sacred morning practice just for him. Time to move, breathe, think, time to be a man again, not just as this business machine. And guess what happened? He started showing up better at home. His mind became sharper, clearer, and his business grew even more. But this time, it was actually sustainable. It was aligned, because that's what happens when you stop chasing fulfillment and you start anchoring it in your daily life. So ask yourself this: where in your life are you still chasing when you should really be grounding? Most men don't even get to this stage. Like I said earlier, they just keep chasing. So if you're here, you should congratulate yourself for the effort that you're putting in. So I've got some questions to ask you. You're winning the wrong game. Here's what most high-earning men don't realize. You're winning, but you're playing the wrong game. You've built success on paper. You've hit the targets. The revenue is coming in. The people respect you, but you're still throwing money at problems that go far deeper than a bank balance. You're trying to solve internal emptiness with external success, and it won't work. You're trying to buy peace, purpose, and connection, but those things aren't for sale. So here's a shift. Ask yourself this: are you actually winning? You need to redefine the game that you're playing. Not just build more, but build better. Not just chase status, but align your values. Because if your game doesn't match your soul, man, you're always going to feel like you're losing, no matter how many zeros are in your bank account. This fulfillment that we talked about, that comes when you consciously shift the game you're playing and you make sure that it actually matches your values and your vision. That's the work I do with the men inside my mentoring programs. I help them reconnect to who they really are and restructure their life around what actually matters, not just what looks impressive. And it starts by getting around other men who are doing that work. Which brings me to the next point. You're operating without a brotherhood. Now, this one hits hard because I know what it's like to feel alone when you're in that position. Isolation might feel productive for a while, but over time it becomes suffering in disguise. Most men in general, aren't meant to walk this path solo. And I'm not talking about these fake networking groups or superficial mind master chats. I'm talking about a real brotherhood, men who actually challenge you, men who see you, men who don't give a fuck about how much you're making, but they actually care deeply about the man that you're becoming. I was lucky that I found that circle. I had a group of brothers who didn't care that I wasn't perfect. They didn't need me to perform. They just needed me to show up real. And so I had to grow into that man that could attract that kind of brotherhood first. And that's part of how I help men now. Build the traits and the internal energy that naturally attracts a tribe of strong, grounded men, because without a brotherhood, you're exposed. You've got no mirror, no feedback, no accountability. And over time, it's that isolation that drains your energy and distorts your perspective. And the last is lead with an essence-based ego. This part is next level, and to be honest, it's where my most advanced clients start to unlock a real transformation. You've got to start leading from your essence, not from your bank account, your title, or your image, but it's what I call an ego-based essence. This is an identity built on who you truly are at your core, not your highlight reel, not your achievements, but grounded confidence, your self-respect, and your ability to face your flaws without running them. This is the divine masculine. And I know that this takes work, but this is what I teach inside my mentoring course, where men go beyond the surface level shifts and actually into the deep, lasting recalibration. Here's one of the tools that I gave one of my fellow men. I said, find the flaw you're most ashamed of and reverse it. Affirm the opposite, rewire it daily. Speak it until your body believes it. I know that it sounds super simple, but it's super powerful. And if you've ever built anything valuable in business, you already know this. Repetition builds results. The reason that most men stay stuck is not because they don't have the knowledge, it's because they don't commit to the repetition. Man, you've done this in your business. You've done it in the gym. Now it's a time to apply it to your identity. So what do? Solidify and stabilize. This is the part that most men would skip. It's the part that actually produces the most change. Because once you've recognized that success alone won't save you, you've got two choices. You either keep chasing or you start solidifying and stabilizing the man underneath the success. This is the work most men avoid because this is where the real power lives. And I say this from experience. Back when I was making all of that money, man, I had no foundation. I was just reactive, disconnected, and constantly lying to myself, trying to prove something to the world. I didn't know who I was without the numbers, and I guess when I walked away from it all, I was forced to meet myself, the raw, the stripped back version, the one with no distractions. And that's where I learned that real strength is. It's not bravado, it's not status, but it's a man who is deeply anchored in who he is, regardless of what's in his bank account. So what does stabilizing actually look like? Well, this is not some fluffy self-care routine. It's about building a framework for your masculine energy to operate at its peak consistently. It's training your body with intention. It's journaling, not just to vent, but to gain clarity and direction. It's breath work and meditation, not for the spiritual aesthetics, but to master your true state. It's auditing your time like your life depends on it, because brother, it does. It's removing distractions, it's tightening standards, and it's living by your own internal code. One of my clients, he came to me burnt out. He was running multiple companies, high income, but his nervous system was fried, man. He told me, I don't feel like a man anymore. I feel like a machine that's breaking down. Again, we didn't need to add more strategy. We just stripped back everything. We rebuilt his morning from scratch. He wanted to do cold exposure, so we did that. We added in movement, breath work, and time in silence, and we cleaned up his environment digitally, physically, energetically. And within weeks, not only was he sharper and more focused, but his leadership elevated. His whole team followed him differently. And at home, his partner felt way different. That's what happens when a man is solid in his essence and stable in his habits. And here's what I want you to hear loud and clear. You don't need to overhaul your whole life overnight. You just need to start locking in one standard at a time. Start with one non-negotiable, one habit that anchors you, one shift that pulls you back into alignment. Perhaps it's waking up earlier in the morning, reclaiming the morning. Maybe it's journaling for 10 minutes every night. Perhaps it's putting the phone down and reconnecting with your partner without the distraction. Whatever it is, lock it in, own it, repeat it, get the reps in, because this is how you build your power. Not by chasing another high, by anchoring yourself in habits, routines, and principles that sharpen your mind. They harden your discipline, and they deepen your presence. This is the difference between a man who merely performs and a man who leads. This is what we do inside the Divine Masculine Mentoring Program. It's not bullshit. It's not theory. There's structure, it's discipline, it's reconnection, it's power. And the more you stabilize your internal world, the more your external world responds. Your business grows, your relationships, they deepen, your purpose becomes clear, because a grounded man, he doesn't just influence, he shifts the whole room without saying a word. So now it's over to you. You've heard the message, you've felt the truth in it. The question is, what are you going to do with it? Because this is where most men tap out. They hear something that stirs them and they go back to their business as usual. Same habits, same distractions, same quiet dissatisfaction underneath it all. But you, if you're still here, you're different. And this is where I introduce something that I call pursue more just because. So what does that actually mean? Well, it means that you stop waiting for breakdowns. You stop waiting for life to force your hand. You don't need a crisis, a collapse, or to hit fucking rock bottom to wake up. You pursue more simply because you were made for more, because you know that there's another level inside of you, because growth is who you are. It's not a reaction, but it's a choice. That's the habit that separates the men who rise from the men who merely drift. It's the trait that sets apart the leader from the follower. It's that voice that's inside you that says, I'm not done yet. A few entrepreneurs that are watching this, think about the people who said that you couldn't do it. The ones who initially doubted you. They mocked your ambition. They told you to play it safe. And now look. You look at them and realize they weren't pursuing anything. They settled. They just coasted. They faded out. But you didn't. You chose to build something. And that same hunger, that same drive, that's what you need to bring into your inner work now. So pursue more in your habits, pursue more in your discipline, in your presence, your leadership, your relationships, your self-respect. Not because someone told you to, not because I told you to, not because you're broken, but because you know that you're capable of more and you refuse to leave that potential untapped. That's what this work is really about. Not just fixing what's wrong, but rising into who you're meant to be. Now, most of what I teach in my mentoring is starting to drop across YouTube, Instagram, and other platforms. So if this hits home, drop a comment below. Tell me what landed. Tell me what challenged you. Tell me how I can bring more value into your life, or even what annoyed you. I'm here to sharpen just like you. I want to improve and deliver better. There are free resources in the description below, so grab them. And man, if you have stayed this far, if you've come to the end of this video, you already know this work is calling you. So check out the link below to see if you're eligible for one-to-one mentoring. I only work with entrepreneurs and older men who are ready to find peace in the chaos, lead with clarity, and step into the man that they were meant to be. Thanks for watching. Jack out.